we waited 1,118 days to race again in Australia, and it was worth the wait. The 2022 Australian Grand Prix gave us everything, and it gave us a stunning drive from our race winner this afternoon, Charles Leclerc. Hello and welcome to your F1 Live post-race show, coming to you live from the paddock here at Albert Park. And what an afternoon it has been. What a weekend it has been. I'm going to bring in my co-host this afternoon. It's Oscar Piastri, reserve driver for Alpine. And Oscar, belated happy birthday from me to you.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the F1 Live post-race show. What a great race, your home race. What did you make of what we've seen just now?
Yeah, it was a good race. I think with these new cars and the new track changes, it made the racing a bit better. And I mean, what an atmosphere it's been. It's obviously been a few years since we were last here in Melbourne, my hometown. And yeah, the atmosphere was unreal. So great to have everybody back, and hopefully we have it every year consecutively now, not another COVID break.
Absolutely, that is what we want. Great to have you on the show. Let's bring in our first guest, Yuki Tsunoda. P15 for you today, Yuki. Just tell me how the car was out there on this new track.
Yeah, it was really tough today, especially yesterday was more, I think there was more pace for the car, but just overall absolutely no pace from the start. Yeah, just really hard to stay on the track, yeah, today.
Yeah, we did see quite a few people making errors. That's just a combination of the car, the new tyres, the new track format.
To be honest, for me, it's a completely new track, so I don't know. But I think for us, it's just we struggle whole week than we expected, especially in the race. I think last two races we had a quite okay race pace compared to performance, and we just today just struggle, especially in the race. So I just really have to work hard what was the issue there and to avoid next time.
Well, absolutely. Next time will come round very quickly. We move to Imola, of course. How do you think the car will go there this year?
Yeah, I think currently we're having a little bit, you know, like a little bit slow start compared to other competitors, especially to fight in top midfield. But I think still 22, 21 races to go. Still, you know, you cannot expect what's going to happen. And Imola is one of the home track for us. So yeah, hopefully we can deliver more better results to have a better performance.
Yeah, just down the road from Faenza. Just tell me what you do now. Now you finish the race, you go back, and do you have some physio? Do you eat?
Yeah, first definitely I need to eat, especially like this bad race. Go back to Italy. I think I go back to the UK to do some of the work for the car, prepare for the Imola, and have a day off, and prepare for, of course, training to prepare for Imola.
Yeah, well, enjoy your time off, and we will see you at Imola. And well done on making it through on a totally new track as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yuki. Love it, love it. A tricky one for Yuki, as he said, a tricky track to get your head around. We've not raced in it before, and still just learning these new cars, aren't they?
Yeah, of course, not being able to do qualifying or the race in Jeddah, obviously, can't imagine would have done him any favours. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Obviously, a quick circuit here in Melbourne, street circuit, even if there is a bit of grass and gravel lying around. But yeah, probably not the race he was looking for, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. I'm going to spin around. What a race.
Oh, thank you very much.
Tyre whisperer.
Tyre whisperer.
Alex Albon. How did you manage that one?
I don't know, and I think we need to do a little bit of homework as to why.
Reverse engineer it back.
Reverse engineer it back, exactly. It was strange. It always seems like that tyre, that C2 tyre, suits our car, and I mean, they're suiting a car, and then there's that where it was almost like I felt like I was doing qualifying laps for the last 30 laps of the race. So it's pretty special. It feels like, well, I know for a fact we went into the race. The strategist tells you, okay, this is our best performance. This is what we have to do to get the best outcome, and it was 19th and 20th, and it was, it wasn't pretty. It didn't look great behind P18 either, and to come out P10, it's completely unimaginable, and it's a very special moment.
Did you know all along it was going to be last lap, or did that start to make itself clear at a different point?
In my head, I'm basically doing the strategy. They're telling me I know my plan, I know how many laps I'm supposed to be doing, and I was surprised we didn't pit. They kept leaving me out, especially when we had
Were you
VSCs.
asking to come in?
No, I wasn't asking
Okay.
because I knew we were okay on pace, but I knew there's a VSCs and safety cars. They're great times to pit, but we stayed out, and then they basically they said in code, well, can we go to the end? And I was like, yeah, we can definitely go
You
to the
said it
end.
in code. I love that.
In code, we know what I know the numbers in my head, and yeah, I didn't know how tight it would be coming out. We had a kind of a slow front left change, and it made it quite close with Zhu. But here we are.
Here we
Got
are.
a
And
point.
just tell me how the car felt then. I mean, you got some mileage under your belt there.
Yes.
The balance has been the troubling part of the car for you guys. How
Yeah.
was it this weekend?
Yeah, that's it. Firstly, I would have to say Q2 was on the cards this weekend. If we were able to do a second lap on the qualifying tire, I'm sure we would have been in Q2. So the balance has been getting there. We've been improving it. We've been making inroads to the car.
It's just come barging in. Here he is. Why not? Just make an entrance. Oh no, not the hair, not the hair. Lando, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. P5 for you. We're just chatting about the tyre whisperer that is Alex Albon, going all the way to the end.
What are you looking at?
I'm just looking at I'm looking at your sweat marks. Doesn't
Is
look.
that a sweat or is that?
It doesn't look very athletic.
When you go around the corners as quick as we do.
I was close to you. I could see you the whole race.
Oh, whatever.
How are you doing? I mean, a hot one out there then for you guys.
It's quite physical. I think it's just a fast track, and you still have to concentrate quite a bit. It's not an easy one for tyres, and there's quite a few walls around still that you don't want to be hitting. So,
But you enjoyed it.
Insightful.
just giving the fans
Usually
something
hitting
to
walls
think
is
about.
a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows he's ready for F1.
Got the rule book.
Yeah, I guess just a difficult race. We had quite a few problems we had to manage, which wasn't ideal. And we had decent pace in the car, so when you're pushing, you're always working a little bit more.
Right at the start, you did seem to have a bit of trouble. Was there something bothering you at the start, or it's just not a good getaway?
No, just a lack of grip. A bit of wheel spin off the line. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you have good starts, sometimes slightly worse. It's quite simple. So today was one of the worst days, and last week I had the best start. So it always fluctuates
Peaks and
with everyone. Just today we lost out to the Mercedes, but they had much better pace than us anyway. So I don't think it mattered too much.
So you're going to have to write the Williams guys into the potential midfield battle now.
Yes.
Were you there?
Zhu.
How far behind Daniel were you?
Well,
Where'd you finish?
I was about 4 seconds behind him on the second last lap, and I had to pit for another set of tyres.
Why?
I did the whole lap. I did the whole race not pitting.
No way. You should have just finished.
I know. But I had
Screw
to,
the rule,
I had to-
mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys have raced each other for a long time now. What is each other's sort of tricks and ways of doing things? Let us in on the secrets.
Don't go near Lando after he finishes a race because he can lock up and spin.
Oh yeah,
It's a good one, yeah.
that was great.
It's true. That's true. I've not tried that. I've not tried that for a while.
Let's not do
I've not won a race either for a while. So
Raced?
we've not, have we?
No.
We did
We
a
did
bit a
race
few years
today.
ago.
At the
That
pit
wasn't a
lane.
race. You were just in my mirror.
No,
that.
he
You
was-
raced these guys.
I haven't raced either of
You
them,
haven't
no.
had the privilege in
No,
inverted commas
not yet,
yet.
not yet.
Not yet, hopefully
not
soon.
yet. There we go. Not yet. Not
After
yet.
a day like today, Fernando will be.
You have a bad one.
You had to box twice
Why?
because he went on the mediums because he did hard medium,
Can I ask-
medium, degged off, grained the front, and had to box again for another set of tyres.
How do you know? I mean, you've literally just got out of the car. Are you being told this all the time, or are you just?
No, I just asked Harry.
Oh, okay, fine. I was just checking. I was like, you seem to have such amazing kind of knowledge of everyone else's
No,
race
I think
at the same time.
because he was in our race at some point, right? I had to overtake him, and we knew he could be strong on the mediums and try and come back through. And the Alpine was very fast yesterday, like a lot faster than we were. So we thought he might come back through. So I just asked why he didn't and where he finished up, and then I just ask questions,
Get
People
the
talk.
answers.
Yeah.
Well, you've got points. When are you getting your podium? That's the next question.
You got points?
a point.
Finished
Sorry, a
10th.
point.
Oh, you actually finished 10th.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, mate.
I'm not joking when I said I was like 4
He's
seconds.
like, yeah, right, you finished P10. It's not April, you muppet. Well, I mean, it is, but... Oh, whatever, shut up.
You guys, you're just the gift that keeps on giving. Do you sense now you've kind of turned over a page?
No.
A little bit, Oh, this is like the same conversation we had in Jeddah.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not going to lie,
I?
am I? Yeah, we bought a whole new car. As you can see, it's really different. And
But look, this is better than when we were chatting in Jeddah. You were very
yeah, but
upbeat.
the thing is, if we went back to Bahrain, I'd still be P13 in qualifying, and we finished 2 laps down or whatever. So the car's exactly the same, which is the problem.
Yeah. So a bit more reverse engineering. You've got to work out why you were where you were then maybe this week.
No, I think we understand. It's just a much quicker track, much smoother, and that suits the car a lot more. We can put it in a more optimum range. So yeah.
So many questions. Which track's going to suit you next, do you reckon? Have you eyed up?
Alex is good at all the tracks.
Oh, thank you. Well, Monaco is going to be a problem. I can tell you that. I can tell you what doesn't suit us. Suit us is harder to say. Yeah, honestly, today, as I said, we came in and we were like, oh, we're going to finish 19th and 20th. It's just how far off we're going to be to P18, and we're coming 10th.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. I do feel like this new regulation, these new tyres, no one understands anything. Tyres people are lost. Qualifying, no one knows what to do on out laps. That's good for us because it means that there's a bit of space to surprise and I guess, what's the word, out-optimize?
Surprise and delight is where I was going.
Out-optimize, huh?
Out-optimize.
Out-optimize.
So, example.
Surely if you optimize, that's just like the best you can do.
An example would be, someone went out and they thought, like yesterday, to go out and the lap time was on the first push. You actually did.
I did, yeah.
See, that doesn't work for us. So
you out-optimized us.
no, because it works for your car. But imagine it didn't work for your car, and I did a double push, and my second push was better than yours.
Yeah, we optimized
Then
the
I've
bad
out-optimized
strategy.
you. Think about it.
I think Rosanna and I are just going to walk off.
I know, we're just going to like
Should we
exit
argue?
stage left.
What are you on about, man?
This is wonderful, the Norris and Albon show. I'm enjoying it greatly. I'm going to enjoy it again when we all
Well,
meet
thanks
up
for coming
in
on.
Imola. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just make my way back.
Who's our next guest?
It's been so nice being a guest.
Where's
on
Fernando?
your
I
show.
want to interview Fernando.
You want to roast him?
If you kick around
How's your
long
race?
enough.
How's he
He's
grading?
gone actually.
Oh,
I
dear.
can't see him. He's not in the media pen anymore.
No, he's on the
If
flight.
you want to
already.
stay, you can stay and do a little bit
No,
of
no.
analysis.
I'm happy to go.
You got a party to get to?
I've got a plane to catch.
You flying out tonight?
Yes.
Oh, when
Are you not?
fly-
You saying you're not helping the team pack away the car and?
As if you do.
Are you saying you don't do that?
Come on.
You saying you don't?
You haven't had your picture taken underneath the car. I'm doing
Lando
it.
sees the unboxed camera. Was McLaren
Yeah, it's
unboxed?
unboxed.
He sees it in the distance and he sees them walking around filming stuff, and then there he is. He's got his high-vis jacket on, rubs his hands on the tyres, make sure they look dirty.
And then onto my top a bit.
Exactly.
Roll
and then-
around on the ground.
Most
and then it's the
valiant
shot.
team
face.
And then it's like here we are, undoing
And
the
one
front wing.
spanner in the hand, yeah. That's all I do.
This is great.
You idiot.
Right, I'm now going to be told off if
All right,
you stay
thank
any
you.
longer.
Yeah,
so
bye-bye.
you must
Bye-bye, everyone.
head off. But thank you so much. It's been great. If you'd like to stay, do please stay. No. You've got to stay. It really has been a pleasure. Don't forget your towel. I've been rejected by Lando Norris. It's been great. Travel safely onwards. Well, that was enlightening. You knew all the answers already anyway. For me, that was
described
great.
basically 3/4 of the race for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a very short show, but hey, the quality has been phenomenal with Alex Albon and Lando Norris. I tell you what, should we have a little look at how things ended up at the end of the 2022 Australian Grand Prix? Let's have a look at your official classification. Charles Leclerc winning in Melbourne ahead of Sergio Perez, and then it was George Russell completing the podium, his first since Spa last year. Lewis Hamilton P4 ahead of Lando Norris, who we've just heard from. Daniel Ricciardo P6, improving slightly on his start position ahead of Esteban Ocon. Then Valtteri Bottas in P8, Pierre Gasly P9, and then Alex Albon taking that all-important 1 point and 10th place. P11 for Guan Yu Zhou ahead of Lance Stroll P12. Employing a different kind of strategy there with the Aston Martin team. Mick Schumacher 13th ahead of Kevin Magnussen, then Yuki Tsunoda and Nicholas Latifi, Fernando Alonso in P17, and then your DNFs Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz. Which meant we had a very exciting Australian Grand Prix. Quite a few interruptions, 2 safety cars and a virtual safety car. That first moment for Carlos Sainz, I mean, made me think of his father, Carlos Sainz Sr., just scooting across the grass and actually really lucky not to wipe out other cars. I think Guan Yu Zhou had the front seat there as Carlos sort of careered across him. Quite sketchy stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit over optimistic. I think from Carlos, and Yeah, I think that's the good thing about old-fashioned grass and gravel. It bites when you make a mistake. So yeah, lucky not to have a bigger crash. But of course, there was big points on the board today for Carlos and Ferrari. So a bit of an opportunity missed, unfortunately.
Yeah, a really difficult day for Carlos Sainz, a really difficult weekend actually. Choosing to go on those hard tyres off the start, it didn't work for Carlos this afternoon. Beaching himself in the gravel, he was talking to Lawrence Barretto a little earlier on in the media pen.
Hey Carlos, tough race for you starting on the hard tyre, especially in the pack. Just talk us through that opening lap.
Yeah, we had again a problem with the steering wheel. Similar problem to yesterday. There was a few buttons that were not working. We had to change the steering wheel, and it meant that the steering wheel was not well positioned for the start, and we trigger anti-stall in both starts because of the clutch and the torque. Because of that, obviously, I was on the back foot, and I tried to make at the places at the first 3 laps, and I clearly made a mistake when the tire was probably not ready to start overtaking. I misjudged the grip, and I made a mistake which cost me the retirement. So clearly not perfect. I haven't been perfect this weekend. We haven't been perfect as a team, clearly, and we need to analyze what we did wrong and see if we can come back better.
Even with all those difficulties, you still look pretty decent out there, car performance-wise. Is it frustrating then to leave here with nothing?
Yeah, for sure. This car, in worst possible scenario today, was to do top 4 with a good comeback. Without the issues of yesterday, without the issues of today, we should have been on the fight for the win. So to go away with 0 points is very disappointing. As I said, we need to be more perfect as a team, and this weekend we clearly haven't been.
Hard luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, really bad luck for the Ferrari team today. Another retiree, Sebastian Vettel, crashing out, already complaining a little bit about not being able to turn the car under braking and not really having that confidence. And I guess he's missed the first 2 rounds of the season, but just unable to get up to speed. That was a difficult one to watch for Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, it's been a very difficult start to the year for Aston Martin and for Vettel. Obviously missed the first 2 races, and we see how his race ended today. And it's not been a great weekend with obviously the engine issue, or what seemed like an engine issue, and the crash as well, and obviously another crash today in the race. So yeah, not the weekend that they would have wanted. But yeah, hopefully they can come back stronger.
Yeah, a really tough weekend for Aston Martin in general. As you say, a PU going up in a puff of smoke, and then a gearbox as well being put into the car, and then, as you say, just many crashes as well. Let's hear from Sebastian Vettel after what must have been a frustrating weekend for the 4-time world champion.
Sebastian, the car just looked like a handful all weekend. What was it like today in the race?
Yeah, maybe too much of a handful for me today. So yeah, I think I was probably trying to push a little bit too hard, and obviously lost the car.
How much do you think it's hurt missing the last 2 races in terms of just how this weekend went?
No, it didn't help, but yeah, obviously in race conditions it was the first time, and there was a lot of stuff I picked up in the first couple of laps, but yeah, unfortunately it was a bit too short our race.
Hard luck.
Well, he's got his championship underway, Sebastian Vettel, but with some serious work to do, and a bit of head-scratching, I think, going on all round at Aston Martin. Then we move to Max Verstappen. It was all going pretty well, although actually he couldn't really keep up with Charles Leclerc, and he was experiencing that grading on the left front. And then it was odd. You sort of thought it might have been something to do with the cooling, because they'd had problems with the radiators, both cars having new auxiliary radiators fitted before the start of the race, but actually it looked like a power unit problem for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously there was a bit of fire at the back and some smoke. It didn't look like the extreme engine blow-up smoke that we've seen previously, but yeah, nonetheless, smoke is never a good thing, and neither is fire. So yeah, unfortunate end to the race for him. I don't think Red Bull quite had the match for Ferrari and Leclerc today, but no, that's more valuable points, unfortunately, down the drain, and they need to start capitalising on their pace that they have at the moment.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's all about reliability. You sort of look at the Mercedes team. We've got George Russell just over our shoulders there. They're continuing to put in some good point-scoring performances. Whereas if you look at Red Bull, of course, terrible start in Bahrain. And now we see Ferrari leaving Carlos Sainz behind. It's just actually going quite well for Mercedes if you look at it on the sort of bigger picture side of things.
Exactly. If you just look at the numbers, then Mercedes look like they're in pretty good shape. But of course, they're not quite where they want to be. They looked a lot better today in the race, I have to say, than they have previously, and compared to yesterday in qualifying. But yeah, obviously Ferrari seemed to be that next step ahead of pretty much everybody today. So yeah, Red Bull, a bit of reliability to find, it seems, and yeah, Mercedes obviously trying to chip their way back to the front.
Yeah, no stats for Max Verstappen, 2 DNFs. I mean, it's just not how he wanted to kick things off with just one race win now for our reigning world champion, Max Verstappen, who's been talking in the media pen.
Hiya Max, ultimate frustration, I guess, in a race that promised quite a lot.
To be honest with you, the race promised me absolutely nothing because it was just a terrible race. Just no pace. I at least couldn't push because the tires were just getting destroyed. So we need to understand why that is, because all the time if I would just try to follow Charles, there was just no way I could keep up with that without destroying my tires. So in the second stint, I was just managing my own pace compared to the guys behind. I mean, it was looking like quite an easy P2 anyway, but you have to finish, to get that second place, even on a bad day. But we're not doing that, and that's of course extremely frustrating.
2 DNFs now in 3 races, how much has that hurt?
Massively. I mean, we're already so far down in the championship that from now onwards, basically, you first need to be faster than them, which we're not, and 0 problems with the car, which we also don't have. So it's going to be a big task.
All right, hard luck. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, tough day in the office for Max. I've drunk from that, so I mean, I'm hopefully lurgy-free, but do go for it. We're live. So a difficult day for Max Verstappen. I'll just wrap up on that little bit of the story. But home hero, Daniel Ricciardo, what a weekend it has been, and actually not looking bad in P6.
Yeah, it's like that's... I mean, I can't complain with, let's say, by far my best result this season. So to have it at home, it's been good. It's been good. It's first part of the race. We were kind of there with Mercedes, and I thought we might have a little bit to show. And I felt actually in traffic, I felt a bit more competitive. Like in terms of, I felt like I had a bit more pace. But then as the race progressed, I think they reminded us that they're still a bit quicker, and it kind of spread out a little bit. And I didn't feel I had as much on the hard as the medium early on, but nonetheless, happy with that. Team results, I think the best we could have done. So, yeah, I'm happy that we got points at home. It's been 4 years or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So lovely. I can imagine everybody here is thrilled for you. There's been a lot of orange out there in the grandstands. We were talking to Lando just a few minutes ago, though, and he's worrying perhaps that it might be track specific and maybe a dose of reality coming your way when you get to some other tracks, frustratingly.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the reality, I think, for probably the first part of this season. We know that the car seems to work on some style corners and not on others, so we have to expect a little bit of a, let's say, ebb and flow probably. But yeah, I mean, look, like, I don't want to think ahead and be like, oh, we're going to struggle on this sort of circuit. I think we have to take a result today, which if you asked us in Bahrain, if we would have this, we probably would have laughed sarcastically. So let's be more positive than Lando is right now, and
yeah, that's nice.
Take this.
Go and have a word with him back in the hospitality.
Yeah.
You had a moment coming out of the pit stop. That was quite hectic.
Oh, yeah.
Albon and Vettel.
Yeah. There was a bit going on, and it's never been that easy to see in your mirrors in like Formula cars, and I think this year there's a lot going on. It is really hard to see.
But your race engineer, Tom's telling you this when you're leaving the pits, right?
Oh, Drift City. Yeah, he is, but it's like also, I think I only saw one of those cars. I don't think I knew there was 2 of them. It's just, it's tricky, but luckily I stayed in front and didn't lose, valuable track time. But yeah, once the sun gets low, like qualifying yesterday was hectic. So my request for next year, hopefully I get my request because I'm the homeboy, is bring quali earlier so we can actually see where we're going.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
Yeah.
Look,
he might have to experience it as well, so
yeah,
you can learn from our mistakes.
Well, if you want to change it so that when I join, then it's all right. I'm more than happy to do that. Or we can just move it tonight.
Yeah.
My best suggestion.
Oh, that would be nice. I like that. Look, it's been a busy weekend for you. We're going to let you go. Are you able to rest a little? Ish?
Define rest.
Okay.
a little. I'll eventually get some, but no, obviously the bulk of the weekend's done now, and I think we can enjoy the next few days and have a bit of quiet time.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well done. Great weekend for you guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
See you later. Travel safely. Take your water bottle. Please don't take mine. Oh dear. Well, great to see the smile back on Daniel Ricciardo's face. Although I think it's probably always there, probably just slightly tempered
Exactly.
as to what they're doing on track. But I think he's probably right. It's difficult, isn't it? You can't just sort of live your calendar by where you might do well. You've got to take any opportunity that presents itself.
Exactly, and I think at this point of the season, it's still really difficult to know where you are going to do well. So obviously, McLaren have probably identified, and I think Lando was saying before, where they feel they're strong and where they're weak. But, I think F1 is an ever-changing environment, and, all the teams are constantly developing their cars and constantly getting quicker. So, I'm not sure you can say at this point of the season that it'll stay like that, but I'm sure they're working on their weaknesses, but a great result for McLaren today.
Yeah, and another great result for another team is Mercedes, also working hard, and potentially some upgrades coming their way in the next few races. None here at Albert Park. Let's hear from Lewis Hamilton now, who finished P4 this afternoon.
Lewis, I know the safety car didn't quite work out for you, and the podium could have been in your grasp, but a great team result overall.
Yeah, great team result. George did a great job today. I got to watch the great battle he had with Perez, and a bit unfortunate with the safety car, but I think we did a great job today. Considering the pace deficit that we have to the guys up ahead, I think we did a good job.
Is this the best that you guys can do until new bits start coming on the car? Just you're still taking as many points as you can week in, week out.
Yeah, that's the goal right now, is why we still have these problems, is just maximize points, and that's what we've done today. So.
Great stuff.
Yeah, getting unlucky there, Lewis Hamilton. But that's the nature of the game. We've seen it already this season with cars just at the certain points of the track at the wrong time, and it can just totally undo your race. But having said that, I think P4 is not totally undoing Lewis Hamilton's race.
Yeah, I think, it's obviously a great result for Mercedes, and they probably I'm sure they definitely would have taken that given sort of where they feel their pace is at the moment. But did feel sorry for Lewis. He got a bit screwed by the timing of the safety car, and also, unfortunate that Perez got in front of him, just before the safety car
just
came out as well. So sort of a double whammy for Lewis. And, I've experienced that one myself, so I know his pain, but it comes and goes, and I think that's sort of just the way of luck in motorsport. Sometimes you've got it, sometimes you don't, and generally it kind of levels itself out. So I'm sure there's been a few times throughout the years where Lewis has been a bit luckier than today, but it comes and goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. From one race to the next, your fortunes can change.
Exactly.
Well, let's hear from Lewis Hamilton's teammate George Russell, completing the podium this afternoon.
Good job, dude. Great teamwork.
Great to see you back in the podium in your Mercedes colours. It must be really rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been so much hard work going into this, and we know we're not quite where we want to be, but we made the most of it. And as we said in Bahrain, you've got to be there at the end to have a shot. Was a bit fortunate, but that's how the game works sometimes. Sometimes it goes in your favour, sometimes it goes against you, and we'll take it.
A great team result as well in circumstances where you said aren't ideal.
I mean, we were probably the 5th fastest team this weekend, and we came away with P3 and P4 ahead of the McLarens, ahead of the Alpines. We've got to be happy with that. We know where we are at the moment. There's so much potential in this car, but we still keep on getting some good results. So, let's keep going.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Not a bad weekend in the office for Mercedes. I think a lot of people thought they would struggle a bit more here. When I spoke to George last weekend, he was thinking they'd really struggle here. But actually, P3 and P4, it's great to get that amount of points on the boards for them.
Yeah, exactly. I think they seem to be third quickest at the moment, although they were taking the fight to Perez in the Red Bull today, so maybe getting closer towards those top two in Ferrari and Red Bull. But obviously P3 and P4, it's it's two-car teams, obviously, so effectively the second best team if you want to put Charles and Perez in the same team. But I'm sure a podium is a great result for them at the moment, and they seem to be getting stronger. I think that's the most important thing for them at the moment is taking confidence in the fact that they were able to fight the Red Bull, especially with Lewis, with Perez earlier in the race. So yeah, I think that's probably the more encouraging thing out of this weekend for them.
Yeah, and perhaps the other teams need to look out, because they talk of this potential that they would need to unlock when these upgrades come to track, and if they can unlock it, where does that put them? Probably P1 and P2, it sounds like, if they're 3 and 4 now.
Well, I think they'll definitely be fighting up the front. Obviously, the porpoising seems to be the bane of their world at the moment. So I'm sure once they can get rid of that or try and mitigate it in some way, then they'll probably unlock a bit of pace. But yeah, it didn't look particularly comfy out there for Mercedes in practice, especially with a fair bit of bouncing. But in saying that, the Ferrari looked equally as bad, and they were lightning quick. So maybe there's a little secret in that, in maybe keeping a bit of it in to keep the performance of running the floor low.
Yeah, it's that constant conundrum, isn't it? What to do about the porpoising? Well, one team who managed to get on top of porpoising fairly early on in the season was Red Bull, and Greg Rusty is with team principal Christian Horner down at Red Bull.
Christian, mixed emotions, I guess, in all of that. Firstly, let's start with Max and a debrief there. Is there any clarity on what happened, what went wrong?
I think until we get the car back, it's all speculation. He could smell fuel, so we need to understand exactly, what has caused that failure. But yeah, very frustrating race for Max. We didn't have the pace of Ferrari today, so congrats to Charles and Ferrari. They had an amazing car, here, and then their tyre issues are less and their blistering is less. But thankfully Checo put in a really super race and managed to salvage a second place.
Were you a little bit surprised by Ferrari's pace after what we learned on Friday and Saturday? Did you think you'd be closer? Is that what you're saying?
I think we thought we'd be closer than that, but they were in the window, we were out the window, and you could see all their problems were less compared to everybody else. So the graining of the tyres, the blistering of the tyres was much lighter on their car. And when you're in a good place with your car, that's what tends to happen. So we were graining the front tyres, we were blistering the tyres. Not as bad as some of the cars behind us, but that just dropped us behind Charles.
Can we finish with one just on the event proper? I mean, massive crowd here, unbelievable feeling here. But did the revised layout, did it deliver in a spectacle sense, or is there still some to come there, do you think, to do?
I think actually that fourth DRS would have made it really exciting today. So I think you would have seen a lot of overtaking with that going on. But no, look, it's been a great weekend, a fantastic event. Such a brilliant crowd. I think your biggest ever sporting live audience over a weekend. So we're always made to feel so welcome when we come here. And disappointed we couldn't get the win, but it's great to be back racing in Australia.
Thank you for chatting to us. Good luck at the next one.
Thank you. Cheers.
I think Christian Horner might be campaigning to get that fourth DRS zone back when we head back here for, I'm going to say it, the 2023 race. We're going to be here. It's a thing. Not
Let's
if,
hope
it's
so.
a when. Just talking about how it might have transformed the race, having that fourth DRS zone and maybe some more overtakes. But there was a cracking overtake from Sergio Perez on Lewis Hamilton. Lakeside Drive, he absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I think the Red Bull seems to be very quick in a straight line at the moment, and the Mercedes seems to be not quite as quick, shall we say. So, probably a pretty ballsy move into there, I have to say. And, I think that one, even without DRS, was a very good overtake, and with DRS probably would have made it very easy. But as we see the move there. But, I think there was probably a bigger issue, and, there was quite a few DRS trains out there today. So, I think in the midfield we saw it was a little bit difficult to overtake, and sort of saw 4 or 5 cars lined up and sort of waiting for the next guy in line.
With Fernando being like, why is he not overtaking?
Exactly, yes. We heard Fernando on the radio, and so I'm not sure how much it would have helped. Of course, it's also a very fast corner into there, so some pretty risky moves, and we saw a couple of offs there as well. So who knows? Maybe they'll add it back for next year. We'll have to wait and see.
We will. Well, let's hear from Sergio Perez now. Checo finishing P2 in Melbourne.
Hey Checo, congratulations. Great to see you back on the podium. You must be pleased.
Yeah, a good result certainly. But a lot of work to do, ahead. And I think these first 3 races we've been quite unlucky with Bahrain, with Jeddah, but today was a bit of a concern. I think we got a few things quite wrong, fundamentally, and a lot of things that we have to review going forward.
What are those concerns? What are top of those lists?
I think generally what the direction we took with the car through the weekend. Both cars went very different ways, so I think we have good information to understand and hopefully come back stronger.
Great stuff. Thank you.
different setups for the Red Bull drivers. And at the beginning of the weekend, we saw Sergio Perez with those awesome aero rakes on his car, not on Max's. So it was evident they were going to go in two different directions this weekend. And I guess then they take the learnings from this weekend, have a little look back at the factory, run it on the sim, check the correlation, and then in Imola, perhaps both will be in the same setup. Does it work like that, Oscar?
Depends a little bit. It depends on how quickly you can make the parts, first of all, because, you know, especially at the moment, very early on in the season, we've obviously had 2 races in the Middle East and now Australia. It's not that easy to send parts to these parts of the world. And also, you know, they're working flat out because it's a brand new concept of car. There's constantly new ideas being explored. So it's difficult to sort of get two different parts of, you know, the same part for both cars. So maybe they only had one available. Who knows? Maybe they did have 2. They just wanted to test different ones. But, you know, whatever is fastest on the track, I'm sure they'll start making more of those.
They'll go with those.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, someone who was incredibly fast on track today was Charles Leclerc, our winner. A bittersweet day for the Scuderia, though, with Carlos Sainz ending his race very prematurely. But let's hear from their team boss, Matteo Binotto. He surely will be happy with that win for Charles.
To win by 20 seconds is mighty. When the weekend started, did you dream that would happen? Did you feel like from practice you would have that sort of advantage at the end, Matteo?
No, not at all. I think it's each single race can be a different story, can be a difficult one. And what we are doing ourselves is try to be focused on the single race. So I'm coming here, looking at the Friday. I think the start of the weekend has been difficult. The car was not perfectly set up. We had to work hard with both drivers. But I think that then Charles did a fantastic overall weekend, progressing, addressing the issues on the setup with the engineers group, and finally he got the pole, he got the fastest lap in the race, and he got a fantastic win. So I think we can enjoy for today, but we know as well that the next race will be a different one, and the championship is still very long.
How was Carlos when he came and spoke to you? He tried a different approach, didn't he?
I think with Carlos, it's a bit disappointing weekend overall because he needs somehow to try to progress himself in terms of speed. I think he started very well the weekend because he was very fast on Friday. He was fast on Saturday morning, and I think he could have done a good quali. But then he had, let me say, circumstances that somehow damaged his final Q3, first the red flags and an issue firing up the engine in the garage. So at the end, it's a shame he started P9, again an issue with the steering wheel on the grid. So overall, I think it has been a difficult weekend for him, disappointing, but I'm pretty sure that it will be a lesson learned. I know him, he will come back very strong, and I'm looking forward to see his speed and his pace in Imola.
Finally, you're off to Italy for the next event. How good is that going to be? And are you know, do you feel like you can be as strong there?
I think, as I said, each single race can be a different one, but it's great to be back now in Imola with all our fans and tifosi after such a result, and I think we can go there and try to enjoy, because at the moment Ferrari certainly is doing well, the teams is doing well, and the drivers are doing well. So we will go there and we'll try to enjoy certainly in front of our tifosi.
We wish you well. Thank you very much.
Greg Rust asking the questions there of Matteo Binotto, Ferrari's team principal. And it's a tricky one, isn't it? Carlos Sainz, I'm worrying, is entering into a bit of a spiral. It's a confidence thing with drivers too, isn't it? When you're not feeling confident with the car and then you have a bad result, sometimes that can just lead to more bad results.
Yeah, it very much is a confidence sport, but at the same time, all you need is one good session, one good qualifying, one good race, and you know, it's surprising how quickly it comes back. So we're only 3 races in. Of course, hasn't been the ideal start to the season for Carlos, and obviously a dream start for Charles. But I'm sure he'll come back, and you know, they've got a quick car. But yeah, obviously not the best of days today, and I'm sure he's already looking forward to Imola.
Well, the great thing is he knows his teammate's got a great car. There is a great car there in the Scuderia. Let's talk about the restart that Charles Leclerc had to manage. He's getting his practice in with safety car restarts this season. He was a little bit slow. I think the front tyres perhaps weren't where he needed them to be, and it looked like Max had the opportunity there. But how did you see that restart and how Charles managed it? What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think it looked like he was struggling for some tyre temp, and yeah, came onto the front straight. As we're about to see, very close together, and yeah, as you can see, just missed the apex there completely. Either whether he misjudged it or had no front tyre temp, we'll never know. But yeah, obviously a great run down to turn 1, and you know, we've seen this battle plenty of times before this year already, and probably Max's only opportunity, and the Ferrari ultimately had a bit too much pace before Max unfortunately broke down anyway.
Yeah, I'm sad because I thought we were going to see more of it. When it started to sort of rear its head, that battle between our two title protagonists, I thought, brilliant, we're going to see more. And then it just seemed to sort of come away for Max and he just couldn't keep up with Charles. Charles, our race winner here in Australia. Let's hear from him now, talking a little earlier on.
Charles, congratulations. You're making a habit of P1. You must be pleased.
It feels good. Yeah, I'm so happy because Melbourne is always a track that I've been struggling in the past. I mean, I've only been twice before because then it was cancelled for COVID, but it's not a track that fits me very well and I've been struggling, and then in qualifying I put everything together and in the race I drove exactly like I wanted to drive. So I'm very happy, but of course this wouldn't have been possible. I think we had the best car today, and it's no secret, and that's thanks to the team. They've done an incredible job. So I'm extremely happy about the result today, and we need to keep pushing.
It's another weekend also where you've almost put not a foot wrong across the whole weekend. P1, P2, P1. I mean, it couldn't have been a better start to the year.
Yeah, no, it couldn't be any better. Maybe a P1 in Jeddah, but yeah, let's not be too greedy. It's exactly the approach that I wanted, and the approach I want to keep for the rest of the year. I think to not do any mistakes, to always be there, is extremely important. And yeah, for now it's paying off. But we're only at the third race in the championship. I will do mistakes in the year for sure. It happens to everyone, but I will try to do the least of them.
Okay, so congratulations.
Thank you.
He was supreme today, Charles Leclerc, and managing his tyres beautifully, just really in a league of his own.
Yeah, he seemed to have a clearly comfortable pace advantage over the rest of the field today, and minus that slightly unoptimal, as we were talking about before,
Yes.
over-optimizing, out-optimizing his less than optimal restart. Minus that, he was in complete control today, and yeah, clearly the class of the field. You know, I think you can always tell when a driver's taking it a bit easy when they're asking their engineer to please let them do a fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's usually a good sign that they've got some more pace on board. So
on the hard tyre.
Exactly, on the hard tyre, however many laps into the stint he was, 40 odd. Yeah, that's usually a good sign that you've got some pace advantage.
Serious confidence from our championship leader, Charles Leclerc. Well, let's take a look at how the championship stands as we leave Melbourne, the third round of the 2022 Formula One World Championship. At the top of the standings, Charles Leclerc with 71 points. George Russell moves up to P2 ahead of Carlos Sainz with just 33 points compared to his teammate. Sergio Perez P4, and then Lewis Hamilton in P5 with 28 points. Max Verstappen down in P6. Two DNFs not helping his campaign at all. Esteban Ocon P7, and then it's Lando Norris in P8 ahead of Kevin Magnussen making his return to Formula One with 12 points on the board, similar to Valtteri Bottas. P11 for Daniel Ricciardo, 8 points for him. Pierre Gasly P12, then Yuki Tsunoda P13 with 4 points. Fernando Alonso, 2 championships and 2 points to his name. It's Zhou Guanyu P15 with 1 point, and so does Alex Albon. He has won after today's race. Then Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, the super sub, and Nicholas Latifi all yet to score a point. 0-0-0-0. Well, that's how things stand in the drivers' standings after 3 rounds. Charles Leclerc way ahead. Can anyone match him? It looks like he's got a comfortable gap. Let's have a look at how the team's standings stack up. Here are your Constructors' Championship points. Ferrari in the lead, over 100 points now, 104 for the Scuderia. Mercedes in P2, they're just turning up and delivering. They might not have the fastest car, but they've got a reliable one. 65 points for their team. Red Bull, 55 in P3. Then McLaren, P4 ahead of the Alpine outfit. Oscar's guys, 22 points for them. P6 for Alfa Romeo with 13 points. And then it's Haas with 12 in P7. Oh, it's close already. AlphaTauri with 10 points in P8. Williams with 1 solitary point after Alex Albon's efforts this afternoon. And Aston Martin still unable to score a point. 0 for them. And they've had 3 drivers having a crack at that. Difficult times for Aston Martin. I'm a little bit worried for them. They've got to get some points on the board. And the gulf between Charles Leclerc and George Russell, I'm being told, is 46. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. Blame my hearing. It is exciting already. It is 46 points. Ooh, yay! So that's how things stack up at the end of Australia. Were you expecting this? I mean, we're 3 races in now. I'm kind of starting to expect that Ferrari are going to be at the top every weekend.
Yeah, I think Ferrari seem to be the sort of clear favourites at the moment, and you know, they have a fast car, a reliable car, as we were saying, and Red Bull seem to be there or thereabouts most of the time, a little bit less consistent, but Ferrari seem to constantly be the benchmark at the moment, with sort of the expectation being Charles winning and Max P2, I would say. It seems to be the battle of the season so far, but we'll see how that progresses. And obviously, you've still got to take into consideration how much did Red Bull spend working on last year's car. Obviously, it was their first chance for a long time to fight for a driver's championship with Max. So whether they have a bit more up their sleeve to work on in terms of development, we'll find out throughout the course of the year.
I'm not writing you guys off either. Alpine, you guys got me excited this weekend with Fernando looking like he was right up there for pole. If the car can hang on, I think there are some good things coming your way.
Yeah, I think, you know, this weekend will probably go down as a bit of a missed opportunity. Unfortunately, it was, fantastic performance from Fernando in particular yesterday. Just unfortunately had an issue on the car halfway through the lap, and yeah, I don't think he would have been able to challenge for pole, but I think P4 would have been quite comfortable, which is great for the team, and you know, it's been quite a long time since we've been able to say that. So nonetheless, Esteban still had a good point score today, and yeah, unfortunately not the race Fernando was after, but we seem to have a quick car down at Alpine. We just need to make sure we can maximise it every weekend.
Well, a little bit of time for Fernando's hands to heal. He was all taped up for today's race. He'll need a little bit of time to rest and recover. Oscar Piastri, thank you so much. When's your next race? F2? No.
I don't race F2 anymore. I don't know. You tell me.
Are we going to see you in an FP1 session?
Maybe.
You can't probably say, can you?
I'm not allowed to say no, but I'm reserve driver for Alpine. I'm not racing anything, and there's 2 FP1s that are mandatory in the rules, so
there certainly are.
I'll leave that with your imagination.
Well, we will meet again at Imola. You'll be there, I'm hoping. Yes.
Yes,
of
I will
course.
be there.
Always got to be ready. It has been a joy having you on the show. Thank you for your time. Happy birthday once again. Enjoy your time off back at home. Well, that brings us to the end of the Australian Grand Prix weekend. Thank you for joining us on F1 TV. It has been a long week down here in Melbourne, but it has been a brilliant one. We will meet again for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, from me, Rosanna Tennant, it's goodbye.
Nowhere evokes memory and emotion quite like Imola.
Verstappen and Hamilton wheel to wheel. Hamilton is forced wide.
I don't know if I've got damage.
And a big crash.
What the f was he doing?
Great job, mate.
Let's go! Max Verstappen takes victory in Italy.
Yes.